How you doing, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Tomato sauce in here. And today, I just want to do a little recap video on Arms Warrior, right? This will be a comprehensive guide where I'll go over essentially how you can play Arms Warrior in solo shuffle, how you can approach certain situations, and we'll just do a little recap of the builds, all right? So, I did it, boys. I knocked out 2,400 yesterday. That was the season goal for me. And yeah, I mean, since all my friends quit and we don't really play 2s and 3s anymore, well, we don't play them at all. I've been doing like, 1 or 2 shuffles a day. But last night I decided to sit down and just grind it out and knocked out 2.4. So I feel like I've learned a lot about Arms Warrior this season, and I would just love to relay that knowledge to my channel because you guys come here for content. Now let me show you what you get for hitting 2,400. You get some sick weapon transmogs. You get this tabard, which is kind of cool. It's actually a pretty cool tabard. Goes with my Mog, I think. Gives it like a more outdoorsy, rustic, right? So you're not just like full Fire Lord memer. I love Fire Mogs in this game. Like that was what I always used to play on my Warrior. But yeah, so you get some very cool weapon transmogs. And on Warrior, you can buy everything but the Warglaive. So it's actually a really good class to try to hit 2,400 with. So yeah, those are the rewards, right? So if you weren't sure, cool weapon transmogs, a tabard, and you get an elite title. And then for winning 100 games at 2,400 plus, you get a title called Legend. And that's what I'll end up trying to do before the season's over. I'm not really in a rush to do it though. So that covers the rewards for hitting 2,400, guys. That's the motivation, right? Sick Mogs, gotta get the cool tabard. Now, let's talk about how do we hit 2,400? Well, let's start with the builds, right? So, I played 4 different builds in Arena. You'll see I have Spear HP, no Shatter, Bleeds HP, that basically means no Shatter. Then I have a Spear Shatter build and a Bleed Shatter build. I played Shatter builds into Paladins and Mages. And I played the health builds into pretty much everything else. So the difference, I'll show you the difference between a Bleeds HP and a Bleeds Shatter build is really just 2 talent points. I could have swapped this out manually, but it gets annoying. So there's the health, and then there's the Shatter, right? I don't even change anything in my spec talent points. It's literally just dropping 2 points in to shatter an ice block or to shatter a ret paladin bubble, right? I found not playing Shatter to be kind of griefing the lob because not every lobby is full of disc priests now. So I did go back and forth between Shatter builds and no Shatter builds. In the Bleeds build, you guys have seen my video on it. I was playing Thunderclap originally. And although I still find value in Thunderclap into multiple melee lobbies, right? So like if you have 4 melees, just cleaving with Thunderclap is actually kind of nice. Keeping dots up on everybody. But I find more value out of the health just because, right? You're in solo shuffle arena, your only goal is to not be the first one dead and to keep your teammate alive, right? Because your teammate's alive, because you don't want, all you have to do is kill somebody on the other team before you die. It's a different way of playing 3v3 arena. You can really leave it out on the court a lot more than you would in a 3v3 game. But you have to exhaust the full utility of your class. Well, the only way you're going to get to do that is to have a little bit more health, because as a warrior, you will be the go target a lot of times in solo shuffle. And if you get exposed as a weak warrior, yeah, they're gonna run it into you. Now, for my spec talents, I really don't think too much has changed since my original video, except I also dropped Skull Splitter. And in the place of these two talents, I went into Exhilarating Blows and Massacre, because I just think they're really, really good talents. You know, Mortal Strike resetting its own cooldown is really nice. The majority of your damage is gonna come from Mortal Strike, even after the nerf. And when Arms goes full crit, or excuse me, when they nerf crits next season and you see some more full haste Arms warriors coming out of the mix, I think you're still going to probably run the bleed build in this same fashion. Maybe one thing you could do is get rid of Massacre and go to Executioner's Precision, because sudden death is going to proc it more. But I really, really like Massacre, because Execute hits like a truck with Fatality, and even with Fatality only stacking to 8, I've never seen a 20 stack Fatality personally. I didn't even realize it could get that high, but even with Fatality only stacking to a maximum of 8 stacks, yeah, it's nice to get a fat Execute into a fat Mortal Strike for a kill. So this is what I actually ran in the majority of games, and I think the reason why is probably because there are so many Warlocks in the game right now, that Spear loses a lot of value. Even if a lock has their gate down already, they can just soul burn and resummon their gate, and get right out of your Spear. It televises too much, right? And you have a longer cooldown on Spear. So all the reasons that I stated in my previous Arms Warrior videos, where, like, you know, you want to use bleeds over Spear because you have more goes, you have stronger 1 minute goes, Warlocks can't get away from you. Well, those are like tenfold now. Now, what do I play Spear into, right? When do I switch up into Spear? Well, I'm usually clicking this, my Spear Shatter build, because into mages, I love Spear. Mages are extremely difficult to stay on, right? They have a kit that is, you know, really bred to kite warriors. Even with warrior mobility the way it is right now, a lot of the time you'll be slow walking at a mage. So when you do get to him and you know he's out of blinks, and you can pop that storm bolt into him, or even sometimes I'll even fear the mage just to know for sure I am landing a spear on this mage. You'll get block every time. Every time that you drop a spear on a mage, you can get block as long as one of your teammates throws any type of CC at the enemy healer. So spear into mages I find to be extremely oppressive. And since you're playing Shatter against mages, you will go right through that first ice block. You don't have to rely on a discipline priest or, you know, anybody else, right? You rely on yourself. You break the ice block. They don't expect it, because a lot of people are not playing Shatter right now. It's actually crazy to me how many warriors don't play Shatter. But yeah, mages always play Shatter. You know, I didn't see many rep paladins either on my climb. Like, you know, maybe I can honestly count on one hand how many rep paladins I saw in solo shuffle, but I think we're going to see a lot more of them. And when you start talking rep paladin, Spear's actually not a bad choice either, because that's 6 seconds that if that ret is going on your teammate, you can peel that ret with the spear into your own offensive go. So if you see a ret with wings that's just popping off, about to bust your teammate in the head, drop a spear on him. I would even parry offensively and just go into his wings, because your parry is going to be back up for his next wings, and the ret's not going to kill you in that 1 minute cooldown, as long as you pre what you need to pre, right? So you anticipate it, you make some moves, prior to getting CC, his big 1 minute go comes up, and you're out of there. Now next patch with that 1 minute and 20 go, where they're getting wings every minute 20, might be a little sketchier, but we'll have to play it by ear with the ret paladins. For the most part, I think rets are usually the rat of the lob, so, you know, abuse a ret when you see it. You know, that's my best advice against a rat. Let's go back to my bread and butter, the bleeds HP build. And again, I'll put all 4 of my builds in the description of this video. But this is the build that I primarily play. I really think it's very, very strong. Again, you have 1 minute goes. You really have 30-second goes because of how fast you get Colossus Smash up. And let's talk about Colossus Smash really quick, right? Because you have Colossus Smash and Warbreaker. What do you play Warbreaker into versus what do you play single target Colossus Smash into? Sure, it's not pure single target because you can sweep Colossus somebody, but chances are that sweep Colossus is going to land on a pet anyway. If you get it on the healer, you know, props to you. I play Warbreaker into any pet, like any massive pet class, not even talking like BM Hunter, although it might be decent to swap into Warbreaker against BM, but Demonology Warlock, Unholy DK. Those are the 2 main classes. If I see them in the lob, I'm swapping up to Warbreaker. And why is that? Well, because Demonology Warlock's pets are very abusive. The way you can cleave on an Arms Warrior running Double Blade Storm, I've still never deviated from that. I think Double Blade Storm is 100% the way to play Arms Warrior because of the unhinged talent and the mobility that we get. We don't have the root break that Fury has. So you want to play this Double Blade Storm, right? Blade Master's Torment and Unhinged. Or excuse me, Blade Master's Torment and Blade Storm into Unhinged. Yeah, always. But again, Demonology Warlock, I swap out of Colossus Smash and go Warbreaker to abuse his pets while cleaving on my big goes. And what was the other one? Oh, Unholy DK. You want to kill that abomination as soon as he spawns it. I literally, against Unholy DK, I target the abomination first and instantly kill it. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds to kill that abomination. Those are the best GCDs you're going to put out in the game because that 8-bomb is cleaving a massive amount of festering wounds onto everybody and just renewing all of his diseases. So yeah, 8-bomb, don't let them free cast that. Don't let that big idiot walk around. Don't rely on anybody to CC it. It's going to take you like 3 GCDs to kill the abomination. Annihilate that thing super quick. Now, on the subject of Demonology Warlocks, when you see them cast Tyrant, you want to just get out, right? Tyrant is extremely overtuned right now. That thing blasts, and its scale, I think its damage is still scaling by the number of pets they have out. So if they have out a lot of pets, because you're not cleaving them down, and Tyrant is out, you just leap out. Goodbye. See you in 15 seconds. Tyrant is not out very long, but what he is doing when he is out is completely abusive. So you want to get out for Demonology Warlocks. Yeah, so those are the 2 classes I take Warbreaker for versus the extra 3 seconds and extra damage on Colossus Smash. I just think it's a smart trade into those 2 classes so that you can almost assure that you're going to kill their pets without needing to sweep the Warbreaker, right? You can actually sweep after, or, you know, if you have it up before, great. I mean, solo shuffle gets a little bit hectic there. Now, let's talk about Arms Warrior utility, right? So you've got a few, especially as Dark Iron Dwarf. I still think Dark Iron Dwarf is the best race for next season, the season after that, and the season forever, right? I just think Dark Iron Dwarf's racial is too good into a Warlock meta. Any type of bleed dot meta, right? This racial is incredible into. It completely will stop an Elemental Shaman go on you. It'll stop Affliction Warlock goes. Those guys just got massively buffed. It'll stop Assassination Rogue goes. It'll stop Feral Druid goes. It stops anything, right? Poison, disease, curse, magic, and bleed effects. And an important one on here is curse, because what Warlocks are doing to Arms Warriors now, they're running an improved crit amp, which basically means you can't crit for 20 seconds. It's lowering your crit by like 100%. You can still do good damage because you're a warrior, but we're stacking crit. So the crit amp that warlocks are throwing out on us that I think it only has like a couple seconds of downtime is absolutely insane. Well, that's why you run bitter immunity, because bitter immunity, this isn't for the health increase. I don't even play it for the 20% health, although it does come in handy for that some games, right? Non-lock games, I've definitely jumped out, waited for a mortal strike to fall, bitter immunity, charged back in, and hit an impending victory, right? And those two together are usually enough to, it's 50% of your health. So you're gonna get pretty damn close to topping yourself off. But let's talk crit amp warlock. What's gonna happen is you're gonna war break or Colossus Smash a warlock. The first GCD that's gonna come from a lock after that is the crit curse, right? If you're running Mez's Weak Aura pack, you'll see it in big red letters in the middle of your screen. If not, it sounds like it has a very unique sound. It's got like a deep whoosh sound, right? And that, you'll see it under your debuffs. You ain't critting. Well, you pop bitter immunity, and now you didn't lose your go. You're gonna force more cooldowns out of the lock now. And then on your next big go, if you haven't had to use Fireblood defensively, you'll be able to get rid of the next crit curse on yourself, and essentially you're just getting every cooldown in the game from them because you have 2 crit removals or curse removals. Now, if you were lucky enough to be playing with a druid or a mage, they could remove your curse. But honestly, I've played with many druids and mages, and I don't think anybody in the game even tries to dispel this. That can remove a curse. So it's going to be on you a lot of the time. And I think Fireblood just gives you a lot more agency over the game in general. So I know Orc, the stun reduction is going to be great. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't die in stuns, period. Because I'm always prepping ahead of time. I'm looking like 2 or 3 steps ahead of the game, understanding what's going to happen to me, right? I have an add-on that everybody probably has called Omnibar, right? It tracks, hold on. It tracks, let's just test it, right? I have it tracking, every CD in the world, but the most important ones are, like in rogue games, you're going to track their kidney shot. When the goes are coming. How to spread out the kidney shots, right? So that they don't come every 20 seconds, leaping out, disarming before that, like at 1 second. You have to watch these kinds of CDs so that you know how to react in the game. That's my biggest tip for somebody that's like playing warrior at 1600, and they feel hard stuck, right? The only way you don't become hard stuck is if you truly understand what's going on in the game. Some of these add-ons are absolutely essential. Like, I don't play with a lot of add-ons, but Omnibar to me is the most essential add-on in the game because it tracks the pace of the game for me. Now, if that add-on wasn't up and you got kidney shot, right? Just kind of understand the flow of the game from there, right? It's 20-second intervals. So, 15, 20 GCDs, you're going to get kidney shot again. I'm not saying to count to 15 or whatever, but just kind of try to feel the game, try to understand where the game's going. On that subject, because I did talk about disarm, let's talk about the PvP talents and what I play. If there's not a disarmable melee in the game, I lock in these 3 every game. No joke. I do not deviate from this. Having Bladestorm up, every minute as opposed to every minute and a half is super big against mages. It's super big against warlocks. Any class that's going to kite you. Hunters. Although, actually, no. Against hunters that aren't BM, I am running disarm. I've even started running disarm into BM hunter because I know that that disarming a BM on when you have, so here's what it is. The BM hunter has 3 stacks of their dot on you. Their pets are doing max damage every friggin' time they hit you, right? If you disarm a BM hunter, that 3 stack is going to fall off, but you have to disarm them at the right time. You have to make sure that the 3 stack is at 6 seconds or less, the same duration as disarm. You disarm them, all their pet damage is going to go down. They're going to have to re-ramp up, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass for them. So disarm into any class that can be disarmed, because it's that good in solo shuffle for peeling. And hunters for sure. You're going to stop survival's big go for 6 seconds, and you're going to stop BM from stacking their barb shot debuff. They cannot barb shot if they're disarmed, and you're going to stop survival hunter from just completely obliterating your entire team with kill shots during coordinated assault. Yeah, so the hunters and disarm, it really stops their damage for a little bit. And to be honest with you, a lot of the times when I disarm a target, I'm storm bolting them right after it and actually swapping to that target. So that's something I've done in shuffle with a lot of success, where it looks like it's just a peel move at first, and then you storm bolt them. Now they're out of the game for 9 seconds. Disarm into storm bolt, and they're not having a good day. Now I see a lot of people that don't play disarm into Windwalker Monk as well, but I'll tell you what, Fist of Fury is absolutely oppressive, and if you can Fist of Fury them, or excuse me, if you can disarm them before they fist, they can no longer Fist of Fury, so you can shut down a Fist of Fury for 6 seconds as well. I don't play it into every Windwalker Monk, but there have been times where if I know that monk is just going to be riding me, I'm gonna take disarm to alleviate his burst damage. It's just a nice little thing you can do to pre the Windwalker go. If you know you're about to get leg swept, you can stop, or you can stop them from fisting you in that sweep. So yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, but disarm is actually an extremely strong talent into many people, right? You're not going to stop them from kicking you, but you will stop them from using their hands. And then let's talk about War Banner into like Mage Lock, right? Where you really do want Storm of Destruction still. I have used War Banner before. Another really good class to War Banner into is Devastation Evoker. So if you know that big devastation, massive CC, triple nonsense go is about to happen, you pre-banner that go, and you cut it down dramatically, right? You're not in as big of a stun, right? Your whole team's not in like a 3.5 second stun now, and they're all thanking you for preing that banner. So against Mage Lock and against Devastation Evoker, War Banner is a pretty acceptable item to use. It's not bad into Rogue either, but I feel like as long as Sharpened Blade exists, it's hard for me to ever drop this in Shuffle, because you're already starting the game in dampening. So it's tough to want to use it. I know there's always a case to be made to use War Banner into a Rogue, but I feel like Disarm is good enough. Let's talk about how to play into a Rogue as well. There's a lot of people that don't understand what's going on when they play into a Rogue, whether it's subtlety or whether it's assassination. I can't say that either one of these classes has killed me in a stun in about 400 rating. I played against a lot of good rogues, and I played against some terrible rogues. But let me teach you what I've learned between sub and assassination, because Lord knows we haven't even seen an outlaw rogue this season. And what to do essentially. Especially if you're Dark Iron Dwarf, right? A lot of the times the rogues are going to go you as a warrior. I don't know why. I abuse rogues. The first kidney shot that they do on you in the opener is what I call the bait kidney. They're very rarely going to send it in full on that first kidney shot. They're trying to bait a trinket from you. They're trying to bait parry. They're trying to bait a PS from the healer, whatever, right? That's the bait kidney. They're going to fake a go on you, and in 20 seconds, they're going to try to end the game. Well, you sit the first kidney. That's the healer kidney, and that goes against traditional threes, right? Traditional threes, kidneys, the healer's in a sap, you're kidneyed, you're the go target, you're going to trinket parry. For whatever reason, I just stay defensive stance, and I sit the first kidney. If they send the first go on me, right? Especially an assassination rogue, I'm still fully sitting that kidney. If I have death mark on me, I'm actually laughing at that point, because all I'm doing is sitting that kidney and fire blooding off everything. If they don't send death mark, I still sit the first kidney. And then the next kidney that's on me, I know is their full go. I sit that kidney as well. And I'll generally pre-rally that kidney. I am fire blooding off their death mark nonsense. Now, if you're not the go target for a rogue, right? You're just going to intervene every kidney shot that you can. Well, intervene's a 30-second cooldown. Kidney is a 20-second cooldown. No, I get that. But your job is to delay the time in between those kidney shots so that you can get, an intervene off on every kidney. Well, how do you do that? You're going to do that with disarm. With 1 second up on your kidney on the rogue's kidney cooldown, you're going to disarm them. That's only 6 seconds. What if he trinkets and kidneys? Number one, he's not going to trinket. A rogue without their trinket is just dead. But now you've delayed it 6 seconds. How can you delay it a little bit more? Well, your partner can kite away from him, and you can keep the rogue slowed, so that hopefully your kidney is up for that next intervene. But you have Stormbolt, you have Fear. Stormbolt's on a 30-second cooldown. Fear's on a 1.5-minute cooldown. Disarm is on a 45-second cooldown. Piercing Howl. Your job is just to create space between your teammate and the rogue so that you can... Excuse me. Let me drink a little water. Sorry about that. So that you can, intervene every single kidney shot. And that should really be enough to keep your partner up. The pre-rally, intervene. If you're going into a caster, you're going to want to intervene spell reflect, because anything that the caster is sending at your boy, you're going to spell reflect back that first cast at him, plus have a little bit extra damage reduction there on the range spells. So that's the biggest tips on playing against a rogue. You really want to track their kidney shot. And you want to play around their kidney shot cooldown and try to kill them in the middle of it, right? They're going to try to get offensive every 20 seconds because that cracked ability is up every 20 seconds. So you just have to try to extend their 20-second goes to 30-second goes, in which you can peel for your teammate every time, and pre-parry if you think they're about to swap to you. Pre-parrying a kidney feels super good, as does pre-blade storming a kidney. Here's another thing rogues are going to always do. They're always going to try to sap a healer at any rating and solo shuffle. A lot of times their teammate won't let them get it out, but when you see that their teammate is letting them get it out, stay on top of your healer, stare at your arena frames, and when the sap debuff hits your healer, you're just going to press Blade Storm. Boom. And the range on Blade Storm, you're going to pop that rogue out of stealth 9.5 out of 10 times, and you're no longer going to be behind in the game because you've also Blade Stormed their kidney shot, more than likely. I've done that multiple times on my climb, where my healer catches a sap, I Blade Storm, they had Mark for Death me with a kidney shot, and they kidney into a Blade Storm. Not only do they get knocked out of stealth, but they also lose their Mark for Death cooldown, and they have now, completely lost a kidney shot, and they're getting an unhinged twice in the face. Even though it's not a buffed unhinged, they're still catching some mortal strikes on their chin for trying to make that trade. So stay close to your healers if it looks like the enemy team is allowing the rogue to get a sap off. So we've covered warlocks, we've covered rogues. Subtlety's really the same thing. You're playing around their dance and kidney shot cooldowns though, so you want to track both of those. We've covered assassination. We've covered mages. I mean, mages it's a mobility game, right? If you can walk up to that mage without having to use any of your mobility, you should be able to stay connected to him throughout the rest of the game. If you have to charge to that mage to start your engagement, you're already behind. So you never want to charge to the mage. You want to try to use the beginning of the game where you might have to trade Spell Reflect and Fire Blood just to get to the guy. Those are good trades. It's all about not pressing a mobility button to make that initial connect, because then he's going to give up a Nova early. He's going to have to give up a blink early. And now you've got 2 charges, 2 blade storms to keep the distance close to him for the rest of the game. And, you know, force blocks, spear him, right? When you know he can't blink again, you know, you can spear him and, yeah, bust him. So I think mage is it's a chess game with mobility, and luckily we have a lot of mobility between 2 charges, 2 leaps, and 2 blade storms. So as long as you don't charge to the mage to begin your engagement and you walk to him, or stay on your mount and try to get to him, right? Like use pillars, let him get aggressive and come into you. Don't just beeline it for the mage, because he's going to be invisible anyway. You know, at the beginning of the game. You know, as long as you can connect without using any mobility, you should be able to stick to him for the rest of the game, especially playing short blade storm. Yeah, I mean, those are the biggest blockers you're going to have as a warrior. If you get all melee lobbies for melees, really Arms just annihilates those lobbies. Fury gets destroyed in those lobbies. Arms plays incredible into 4 melees. You know, parry is the best anti-melee cooldown in the game. Plus we have disarm, plus we have intervene, plus we have 2 blade storms on hinge, sweeping strikes, etc. Right? What I usually try to do in those double melee lobbies is actually start on the enemy healer to try to get everybody grouped on one player so I can triple cleave. If I think that's a possibility, I even swap from Colossus Smash to Warbreaker so I can have everybody debuffed for my big goes. Yeah, that's the quad melee lobby strat. I hate quad melee lobbies. I actually wish they would just make it 1 caster, 1 melee, 1 healer, because I think it gives you a good variety of games at that point, right? So you get, you know, 1 melee, 1 ranged, you get 1 double melee game, and you know, you're having fun throughout the entire shuffle. But maybe in a later patch they'll come out with something like that, where they'll force it to be 1 range, or really 2 melee, 2 range, 2 healers as the queue, for solo shuffle. The queues are so long, I don't even think it could hurt anything. It might hurt melees a little bit, but I think healers would really enjoy it a lot more. Although a lot of stuff's going to change for healers in 10.7. I think solo shuffle queues in general are going to get much shorter because we're going to have a much higher healer participation. But guys, that's it for me. These are the tips and tricks to pushing elite on an Arms warrior or a Fury warrior. You know, a lot of what I said for Arms is, you know, it carries over into Fury. So if you want me to do a Fury specific guide in the future, I will. But I just wanted to get in depth on certain arena compositions, you know, and how to play against them, especially the ones you're going to encounter the most on the climb up. Well, guys, we did it. We hit 2.4. We'll try to push Legend before the end of the season, but I'm not in a rush. We'll get there, right? Slow and steady wins the race. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good week, and have a good year. Tomato sauce and out. Elite Arms Warriors absolutely in.